Been preparing in Europe. Defeat for them against Lyon last weekend. We can be sure that their focus is now on their city rivals, Inter. There's a really big crowd for this one as well. Something of a surprise that Inter have really gone with a second string for this one, having China against Bayern Munich at the start of the week. Andrew wearing the captain's armband. Expressions on the faces, not giving too much away. Milan have a new coach in Sinisa Mihailovic, and the promise of money. Inter lost 1-0 to Bayern Munich at the start of the week, a fixture which was played in China, but one which isn't part of the International Champions Cup. Coach Roberto Mancini has decided to name almost a totally different starting 11. Just 17-year-old Federico De Marco retaining his place. Mancini has been eager to look at striker Samuele Longo after a season-long loan at Cagliari. And the Algerian international Safir Taida is also back from a loan at Sassuolo. Mihailovic feeling the heat already. We do understand that there will be a couple of water breaks, one at 30 minutes and another one at 75 minutes. Roberto Mancini, in contrast, a picture of cool, collected calm. So it is Milan who get us underway. The changed up for them. They're all in white for this International Champions Cup fixture. First game which is being played in China in this particular competition. Real Madrid will also be taking on both Inter and Milan, with the two Italian giants are the focus for this one. And Andy Hinchcliffe, maybe Roberto Mancini, causing something of a stir and creating a bit of a shock or two, certainly back in Italy with his starting 11.
Well, we do see managers do this in pre-season, give youth a chance, but in a big derby like this, it doesn't matter where it's played. You put a lot of young players into a team. If it doesn't work out, the manager will be under pressure. We saw when Chelsea played against New York Red Bulls, a very young, inexperienced Red Bull side. They went out and beat Chelsea. So one thing we expect from Inter today, with that youthfulness in the team, is real energy, determination and purpose.
Given his chance up front by Milan. He's been away on loan at various clubs for the best part of 18 months. Chance for Mihailovic to have a look at him. Impressive defending by Calabria, the 18-year-old. Made his debut at the very end of last season in Serie A. Baldini breaking forward.
Just an example there, the energy and the pace that's in this Inter side. When they can break, maybe on the counter at times, when Milan dominate possession, with players like Baldini, they will burst forward. They'll be eager to get in possession and get running at fullbacks.
Baldini, one of the many youngsters given his chance by Mancini. Have had a week to get used to the conditions in China. Had their first training session in Shanghai last Sunday. And she was saying that he felt that his squad was still very raw. Just a bit too eager to get his foot on the ball.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to play in central midfield alongside Nakuri. So rather than play left back, where he has played before for Inter, he's been pushed forward. And Nagatomo is going to play left back in the back four for Inter.
Nagatomo, the Japanese international teammate of Milan's Kisuki Honda. It is Nagatomo. DeMarco. Back with DeMarco. Yeah. Honda. De Jong, who played for Roberto Mancini at Manchester City. Alex breaking forward. Picking out a Calabria. Cross was deflected. It could have been awkward for Carrizo. Such an important season this for both Milan and Inter, and the benefit of a huge amount of summer investment. Honda There's Niang.
There's some really good defending there from Marco Andreoli coming round on the cover. Good movement off the ball from Honda to get in behind Nagatomo. Decent cross. Andreoli did really well just to snuff out the danger.
Dion. The moment Inter are in retreat. Helped on by Matri. Nakuri. One of the 18-year-olds who've been given their chance by Roberto Mancini. Baldini another one. DeMarco just 17.
I think it's very important for Inter at times like this. They just take the sting out of the game, because Milan will dominate possession, force them to defend in numbers. So when they get the ball back into, they have to try and keep hold of it for as long as possible. The problem is, though, they're only playing with one up front with Longo. So the quality into the striker has to be spot on to allow them to move up the pitch as a team.
Longo came on as a substitute in the 1-0 defeat to Bayern at the start of the week. Longo gives chase here. Nudging the back for Rodrigo Ely.
It's a silly foul actually from Longo, because he's got Ely running back towards his own goal. He's under pressure, just that shove in the back. There's no need for it. It's really inexperienced. Just keep your hands off him. The centre-half has a problem there if you just stay on your feet and just run him back towards his own goal.
Extraordinary to think, isn't it, Andy, that neither of these European giants or Italian giants featured in the UEFA Champions League last season and won't be involved in the season to come either, having finished 10th and 8th respectively in Serie A.
Yeah, I think you look at the strength of Juventus. They've been far and away the best side in Serie A. Roma, they've been trying to chase them down but finished way behind them. But normally then you'd expect the two Milan clubs to come, well, probably at least in the top four. That's simply not happened. So it's rebuilding processes for both clubs, and they need to get it right this season.
Daida. And again by Nakuri. Baldini left in a heap. Santon. Back in Italy after a spell in England with Newcastle United. Santon again. Able to give the Chilio the slip.
I think it's brave of Roberto Mancini to pick such a youthful side, but also the formation, the way that side is playing. There's plenty of width in the team with Baldini and Delgado on the flanks. He's encouraging the two fullbacks, Nagatomo and Santon, to push forward as well. So brave team selection. And they're playing very bravely in possession as well, Inter.
He's tied up. Tied to the Algerian international, who briefly had a time in England at the start of last season with Southampton. It's part of the deal that saw Dani Osvaldo go to the South Coast club. Have spent big money during the summer months. Kondogbia joining Inter from Monaco for the best part of €30 million. Aranda has arrived from Atletico Madrid, and Murillo from Granada. He was injured in the fixture against Bayern. Painful one for Poli.
Here's a heavy landing. I'm not sure that Baldini does an awful lot wrong. The ball bounces. It tempts Poli in to try and win it. I don't think Baldini actually sees Poli coming. He just makes a back for him. You see that happen time and again when a player is absolutely determined to get to the ball. An opposition player makes a back for him, and it's that landing, the heavy landing, is where you can pick up a serious injury.
It's the bottom of the back, the base of the spine, which is the problem here for Andrea Poli. He did once upon a time have a spell at Inter, which was injury troubled.
It's one of those type of collisions where you can't prepare yourself for the landing. You've got eyes for the ball, so you're just determined to get to it, get twisted in the air, and you can't control your landing, and that's when you can pick up these back injuries. Let's hope he can get up and on his feet and carry on.
He is okay. Featured as a substitute last weekend when Milan lost 2-1 to Lyon. Featured off the bench and got Milan's goal in that one. And it's offside. Brazilian's normal defensive partner, Philip Nexus, is on the bench. Means that Ely is in there with Alex.
Well, Alex was completely on his own, but experienced defender. He comes up back like that, has to look along the line, has to make sure he stays on side. He was sloppy, he just went too early.
Over the free kick. In by Honda. Over the top from Ely.
It's a dangerous game that Inter are playing here. They're trying to keep a high line. Looks a hint of offside in there as well. There's what, 3 or 4 white shirts in there. It's always a danger when you push up and try and drop in and try and defend it. You're heading back towards your own goal. Difficult to defend in situations like that.
Could be a big season this for Rodrigo Ely, the Brazilian-born, now Italian youth international, who has yet to play a competitive game for Milan. It could be argued that fixtures between Milan and their city rivals are always going to be competitive, even in pre-season. Santon had his woes after leaving Newcastle United in England for Inter again. Had to prove his fitness before they made it a permanent deal, and was then injured once more. Ruled him out until the end of the season, but now he's back to full health, and he's just given the ball away unnecessarily. Honda, Niang. Impressive goalkeeping by Carrizo.
Well, that's what can happen when you give the ball away cheaply. It was lightning fast from Milan, and they're in behind. Great first touch from Niang. Just thought he might try and lift it over the goalkeeper, but the keeper was big and strong. Great save.
Matri. So out off Andrioli. It'll be a corner kick to Milan.
And it's the way that Carrizo really appreciated what was happening there when Niang took that ball down and got it out of his feet. It was always clear he was going to shoot first time. The keeper was out very quickly to make the block. And Sanson gives it away. Niang a little layoff, a little 1-2 with Nagatomo. It's actually in behind, so it's Honda that lays it off. Great first touch from Niang, but the keeper, he's so quick off his line, narrows the angle. It's a brilliant save.
And again by Honda. Impressive defending by Andrioli. Again, Andrioli there to clear. Shelia to break forward. Corey mopping up. And then diverted to safety by Andrioli. They're under a bit of pressure now at the moment, Inter.
Well, Sanson's had a bit of a wobbly couple of minutes. He got caught giving the ball away cheaply. Then he was caught out of possession there, squeezed up the field. And De Sciglio, the left back from Milan, just broke in the space that Sanson had left for him. And think when you're under the cosh as a back four, you have to stay nice and solid. Sanson has to stay alongside Andrioli and make it a really solid defensive unit. He didn't do that, and that allowed Milan to break in behind him. They're being pinned back, and when you're playing as a lone striker, when that ball's played into you, just get your body in front of defenders, get your foot on the ball, get fouled if necessary, but just break up the rhythm of the game. And Longo did that really well. Now in to have the ball back. Now they need to be patient.
Nagatomo. Dion. Honda. Bertolacci. Amatri. All a spring out here to Niang. Honda. Almost came back to Honda. It's proving increasingly difficult for Inter to get out of their own half.
You can see their centre forward, he's all the way back, he's halfway back inside his own half, and he's the furthest forward for Inter, and that is their major problem. They win the ball back, there's no real out ball because Longo's doing his defensive work, he's doing the right thing, he's coming back and helping out. But when his team win the ball back, it's far too deep and they just can't relieve the pressure.
Dion with the free kick. Just straightforward enough. Carrizo given his chance from the start in this opening fixture in the International Champions Cup in China. Normally Inter's number 2 to Sami Handanovic. Handanovic, who was absent for just one game in Serie A last season. Mancini has made it clear that he is looking for a new striker. Even Perisic of Wolfsburg is one of those who's being mentioned at the moment. Talk on the other side of Milan is that AC might be tempted to sign Zlatan Ibrahimovic after the French Super Cup at the start of next month. That would be a statement of intent. On his way. Chested down by Alex. Honda. Alex almost playing himself into a little bit of trouble then. Into keeping a high line, almost on the halfway line.
Well, Niang is going to, I think, prove a real handful for this Inter defence today. He's got pretty much everything. He's tall, he's well over 6 foot, decent in the air. It's a good line they hold here into. It's a good job because he has that ability to come short and secure possession for Milan, or he can spin and use his pace and get in behind. He looks very lively. Played alongside Bertolacci at Genoa during the second half
of last season, the French under-21 international. Tider picking out Santa. Pedro Delgado. Now Longo. Plenty of experience in reserve for Inter. Mix of Palacio and Icardi, who was the joint top scorer in Serie A last season, among their substitutes today. Nakuri. Terrific ball by Nakuri to pick out Delgado. Still with Delgado.
Well, this is a decent opportunity, and it's Bertolacci who just gives the ball away inexplicably in his own penalty area. Growing confidence from Inter, they're popping it around. Decent ball over the top. The danger was there to be cleared by Bertolacci. He just gave the ball straight back to Delgado, and should have done better, really. Should have at least hit the target from that angle.
Delgado, the young Portuguese, just 18 years of age. De Jong. Honda. Out of Delgado for yet another Milan corner.
I don't think Milan will be too unhappy with picking up all these set pieces. The two big centre halves will come up from the back, Alex and Ely, and it's just all about delivery, all about quality into the penalty area. Try and keep it away from the keeper if you can.
Taken short by Niang. Goalkeeper thought about coming. And Alex with a header, which is well wide.
Just slightly ahead of the ball, mistimes his jump as well. The shake of the head from the centre half tells you he should have done better. They went back to go forward, Milan here, but it's just dropping behind him and he's ahead of it. It makes it difficult. You've got to adjust your body. It's a real flick of the neck to try and get it towards the goal. That's not an easy header.
I'm surprised that Alex decided to stay in Italy. There was a lot of talk that he would return to Brazil to join Santos at the end of last season. Decided to stay with Milan, who said goodbye to Pippo Inzaghi as their head coach at the end of last season. In a troubled 18 months or so. Clarence Seedorf didn't have much joy when he was in charge. Finishing position was probably better than many anticipated, given that Milan won their last two Serie A games. Give the whole campaign a touch of respectability. Honda. De Jong. Honda again. Niang. Expecting a lot of Calabria.
It's all about organisation, communication here for this young Inter side. They need to be disciplined here because Milan will be patient. They'll probe, they'll try and get Honda in possession. He's the one who provides the cutting edge. You can find those killer passes, just slide it in behind that Inter back four. So that's why those defenders and midfielders have to talk to each other.
De Jong. Calabria. Back again by De Jong. Midway through for Matri, however. Santo. Recording. Tied. Positive run by Santon. Longer. Good nudge in the back there, surely, by Ely. Santon. Knocked away by Ely.
Well, they're playing a dangerous game there, Milan. They just backed off, allowed Santon to push forward, eventually get the shot away. He wasn't closed down, far too easy, but went in to have decent possession, and they are able to get over the halfway line. They are being nice and patient. You don't normally see that from young players. They're normally very keen to get it forward far too quickly. They're not. They're taking 2 or 3 touches. They're playing with old heads. That's good to see.
The former Lazio midfielder who was on the bench for this one was suggesting earlier in the week that Roberto Mancini had tried to emphasise to his squad while they've been in China that he's looking to get them playing differently in the Serie A, which is about to start. Wants them to up the tempo a little bit. He's acutely aware that he needs to find a striker. Shaqiri, who arrived in January from Bayern, is likely to leave the club. There was poor return on Lucas Podolski, who arrived from Arsenal and who's now gone to Turkey, to Galatasaray. So important that Inter do improve their attacking options. It's a different story for Milan, however, having spent an awful lot of money on Carlos Bacca, who was a big star in the Europa League for Sevilla. And also Luis Adriano, who's arrived from Shakhtar Donetsk.
This is a daft challenge from Niang. We saw it with Longo earlier in the game. Just force the centre-half to make a decision. Don't give away a cheap free kick like that. The opposition can then turn around and play back up the field. The defender's facing his own goal. Keep him playing that way.
Physically, this is going to be a big test for both teams, given the humidity and the agreement beforehand that we will have a couple of water breaks. Santo. Impressive defending by Biscilia. Helped on by Longo. Alex getting in something of a muddle. Lucuri. Was following up. It's
been a good spell this from Inter. They were under the cosh maybe 5 minutes ago. They were being forced back, they were pinned in, they couldn't get out. Now they're securing possession higher up the field and the confidence is flowing.
Baldini. Back with Baldini. Shame that his first touch was rather heavy, having been teed up by Longo.
Well, the idea was certainly right. It's been very lively, Baldini. He's trying to get on the outside at times, and then, as most wide midfielders do these days, drift infield as well. It's just the return pass there from Longo was really gunned at him. He needed to kill it stone dead. He just couldn't do it. The pace was too much on the ball back to him.
Baldini's only first team appearance for Inter last season was in the Europa League. to got to the last 16 before they were eliminated by Wolfsburg. And they're now looking to the Wolfsburg striker Ivan Perisic, Swiss international, who might be one of those who Roberto Mancini wants to bring in before the August transfer window closes. Honda. Looking by Calabria.
Competitive, fairly even opening half an hour or so, but I do think Milan, with their extra experience, they do have the edge. Players like Honda and Niang look very lively as well, so if there is to be an opening goal, I probably would expect it to come from Milan.
Bertolacci apologising for the challenge. Now there's time for everybody to take a bit of a breather, and they need it. Inter started their preparations in the South Tyrol with a couple of fixtures against Stuttgart Kickers, one of the German teams, junior German teams. And they took on Carpi, who are the newcomers to Serie A in the season which begins on the 22nd of August. So they are debutants.
Well, it's pretty clear the players will be happy to take some fluids on board, but as you see here with Mihailovic and Mancini as well, it's good for the coaches after half an hour to be able to get out and have a quick word with their players. You normally, of course, don't get that luxury. You have to wait till half time. Mancini getting his point across to some of the younger players.
See under those drenched white shirts as well that all the Milan players have got their heart rate monitors on. They will be producing data for the technical backup team at half time, so they can assess just how much effort they've put into this opening 45 minutes.
I think you do have to be careful in conditions like this. I think the medical staff, of course, the managers have to appreciate how tough it is. This is not normal circumstances under any occasion, really. Of course, in Serie A, you do have hot weather, and the humidity is like it is today. You have to be careful with the players' health more than anything else, and that's why I'm sure we're going to see plenty of changes. You don't want to risk players staying out there too long in this kind of humidity and heat.
It's worth emphasising that you can have 11 substitutes in the International Champions Cup, but they all have to come on at 3 separate intervals.
There have been some decent opportunities, headed opportunities for Milan in the opening half an hour or so from Ely and from Alex as well, but this was the best chance. Niang, great first touch, the pass from Honda, great first touch with his right foot, shoots with his left, but the keeper is so quick off his line, doesn't really give Niang anything to shoot at. That was really the best chance for Milan in the first half, and a bit of sloppy play here from Bertolacci, giving the ball away very cheaply. Delgado on his left foot, he goes for power. You need the accuracy. There's Bertolacci giving it away. You've got to try and pass it into that far corner.
84% humidity, temperature of close to 30 degrees. No wonder everyone's feeling the heat.
Well, in pre-season, of course, the managers like the intensity to be high. They want to get back to the tempo that they want to see from their team come the start of the season, but it isn't easy in these conditions. Players naturally will just take things a little bit more easy, try and keep possession, make the opposition do more running than they have to do.
Roberto Mancini, reappointed by Inter in November of last year, took over from Walter Mazzari. He's got a contract which will keep him at the club until 2017 now, but he enjoyed so much success, didn't he, during his first spell there? 3 Serie A titles. Left for Manchester City back in 2009. We were chatting beforehand, weren't we? We were both rather surprised that it's now 6 years ago since he first arrived at one of your former clubs.
Well, time does fly by, and absolutely right. Roberto Mancini's record at Inter was fantastic. I'm sure the Inter fans appreciate that, but it's not the same club that he's taken over. Certainly the staff isn't the same. The personnel here, he's really got to tinker and change things, improve things. It will take time. I'm sure the Inter fans will give him that with his record when he was here previously.
It's a giveaway to Honda. Inter could be in trouble here. Niang. Another opportunity spurned.
There's Delgado, who gives it away far too cheaply, but Andrioli does really well here. When the ball is played wide, he just slows Honda up. When the ball is played wide, he doesn't give Niang really the angle to get a shot away. And sometimes as a defender, it's not about necessarily winning the ball, but it's putting yourself in a good defensive position. It makes it hard for a striker to actually get his shot on target. That's exactly what Andrioli did there.
Maria, who was the young player, the best young player at the Copa America, picked up an injury, picked up a calf injury in the fixture against Bayern earlier in the week. One of the new signings for Inter. It's meant that Andrioli has been brought in today alongside the youngster Popper.
Causing themselves so many problems here into this time. It's Santon who has an easy pass on to Delgado, doesn't play it, loses the ball, and then suddenly Milan are breaking into the space once again that he's left. So they have to do the simple things much better into Milan. Get the ball out of their feet and just pass it when the pass is there to be made.
Taken a couple of short corners during this opening half, and neither has produced anything noteworthy.
I don't really understand that. You've got your two big centre-halves up from the back. You've got somebody decent over the ball. Surely you just whip that in and give the centre-half something to attack. You go, I think one pass back is enough. You go two back to probably a left-back to deliver it from much deeper. I think it's very hard then for the centre-halves to get any quality headers in because the ball is coming from so deep.
Sympathy for Samuele Longo up front for Inter. Isolated and alone. Precious little support, but now he sees himself surrounded by those in white shirts. The Chile. Actually finished his playing career at Inter, age 37. He returned briefly as an assistant. Had time together at Lazio and Sampdoria. And Tuning saying he was looking forward to taking on his old pal as a coach for the first time.
You can see why Milan have gone for Mihajlovic's track record in Serie A is good. He knows the league inside out, and he's a no-nonsense manager. He will demand an awful lot more from some of the star names at Milan, and I think that's what they need, a bit of a kick up the backside. It's a nasty challenge, that, because De Jong is... he's not even playing the ball, he's playing Taider, just comes straight through the back of him, kicks through the back of him. And that is De Jong's role. He is a destructive force in central midfield, but that was way beyond. Normally, any normal game, you'd be booked for a challenge like that.
De Jong, who knows all about the Milan derby, having scored the winner for Milan against Inter a couple of seasons back. See that the pitch is already cutting it badly. It was watered heavily beforehand.
It's a real opportunity on the counter-attack. It's taken, 36 minutes or so to get to that point. But for the first time, Milan was slightly caught short at the back. The fullbacks had pushed on. Inter won the ball back and they broke quickly, but Delgado never really made his mind up. Was he going to pass it? Was he going to shoot? And once you delay, you always give a opponents the chance to get back. It was De Jong who was all the way back just to pinch the ball off his toes, but a chance gone there for Inter.
Niang held up by Santo. Another Milan corner.
This is the opportunity on the break with Delgado. Alex does well, actually. He just holds him up, slows him up, doesn't go flying into the challenge. That's experienced defending. Eventually, Delgado runs out of ideas.
Inside the 6-yard area, joined by De Jong, who's almost on the toes of the goalkeeper, Cariza. Honda. Wild swipe by Nukuri. And that was a much better pass. Longo. Support provided by Baldini, support which so far has been ignored by Longo. And Alex back to cover, made up a muffle on the ground, the 33-year-old.
That is the problem on the counter-attack. There's just no support for Longo. He's really just trying to keep hold of the ball. There's so many Milan players around him. He wants to get the pass away. Baldini's the only player he can pass to, just couldn't get it away.
Now there could be problems for Inter. Matri in the clear. And Niang was waiting and waiting, and maybe they just dallied a bit too long. I'm surprised that Matri didn't take that himself.
Well, Matri's not going to score from this position. It's poor defensively from Inter. They step up, they shouldn't be doing that. The Matri should take one touch and then pass it, put the ball out in front of Niang. By taking 2 or 3 touches, Niang's going to catch up with him, virtually be level with him, and that gives the defender a chance to get back and make the clearance. But Matri's just got to roll it in front of his strike partner who can put it into an empty net.
Is still simmering about that. Honda. This is going to be a test for the goalkeeper. Nearly was pushing and doing his best to clamber over the defender, and it will be a free kick to Inter.
Yeah, maybe it is down to the conditions, the heat, the humidity. The game is starting to get stretched. We're seeing Inter play on the counter-attack. We're seeing Milan get in behind a very dodgy Inter back 4 line that they had there when Niang should really have been played in. Once that game starts to get stretched, I think opportunities will come for both sides.
Nagatomo. Baldini. Santo. Santo's done well. Still the Milan substitutes limbering up. Doubtless there will be changes at half-time. It's more unusual in this competition for coaches and managers to change the entire 11 at the interval. Nagatomo. Pushed by Baldini. These clubs are regulars in the International Champions Cup. New joy for Milan last year in the United States. Lost all 3 games that they played against Manchester City, Liverpool and Olympiacos. Conceded 10 goals, scored just 1. And struggling to make any real impression in front of goal this time around.
Yeah, that's the one thing that really disappoints. Mihailovic, I think, of course, was sending out a more experienced side. He would have expected the team to dominate possession and really work this young Inter defence, but it's not really happened. They've been relatively comfortable. Inter. There's been 1 or 2 occasions when Milan have got in, but you'd probably expect that with the youthfulness of this side that Roberto Mancini's gone for. But overall, I think Mancini would be fairly happy with what he's seen so far.
Delgado was waiting, and Alex got there first. Nagatomo into finishing the first half with a bit of a flourish.
Well, you're right, it was a brilliant piece of defending from Alex. He wasn't worried about the run of Delgado. Sometimes defenders can take their eye off the ball and watch the player rather than the ball, but Alex did brilliantly.
One count, flag was already raised. Further frustration for Milan. Actually claiming that he didn't hear the whistle as he retreats to the halfway line. Ooh, that is tight.
It was, but again, Inter Milan playing a very high line. They got caught with Matri previously running in. He's done it again there, and this has to be the game plan for Milan. If Inter are going to keep that high line, then those players just got to time their runs, start a bit deeper and then burst in behind, because there's acres of space to run into.
Ended last season as a Coppa Italia winner, having scored the winner against Lazio after being loaned out to Juventus, who were looking to get some strength in depth, given that they were challenging for the Champions League title.
I do find it a bit strange. I think Matri was booked for actually kicking the ball away. He said he didn't hear the referee's whistle, but how can he be booked for that? And then Nigel de Jong is not booked for that challenge when he cynically comes in behind Taider and just hacks his legs. The referee allows that to go and then books a player for kicking the ball away.
Nagatomo. Baldini. Longo. Squirted to safety by De Jong. Mikuri. Got a goal at the World Cup finals, having been set up by Nagatomo. He's on duty for Japan against the Ivory Coast. Oh, it's come here to Longo. He was offside.
Here's a look. It's an excellent finish, but as the shot comes in, Di Marco with his weaker right foot takes the shot on, but he's clearly offside. Longo. The officials get it absolutely right, but it was an excellent finish on the turn.
I do sense that Inter are growing in confidence. That a really shaky opening 10 or 15 minutes or so. Milan looked a team, Inter didn't.
It'll be interesting to see what Roberto Mancini does with his substitutions.
So first half of missed opportunities for Milan. Plenty of possession. They've put out a strong team here against Inter, who've put their faith in the B squad, really. A number of teenagers who've been given their chance by Roberto Mancini. Effort etched on the face of Longo, who's led the line to great effect for Inter in hot and humid conditions in China. We're at half-time in this International Champions Cup. Here's Milan. Sure, eager to get on. Montolivo is also out there. He had a really troubled time last year. He was on the verge of going off to the World Cup finals with Italy, but he broke his leg in a friendly international, played in London at Fulham against the Republic of Ireland just before the tournament began. Ventura makes his appearance. This could go on for some time. Zapata, another one who's had a few injury woes, who's getting 45 minutes. Mari also on. Jose Mari has been signed from Parma. Parma, who were relegated from Serie A and had huge financial problems. Mari just 19. Abate, double that age. 38 now, the experienced goalkeeper. In to get the second half underway. Plenty of changes for AC Milan at half-time. Still very much finding their feet, given that the priority is the start of the Serie A season, which is not until the 22nd of August. The Serie A fixtures are not announced until next Monday. Andreoli. Santo. Montolivo.
I think with all these changes we're going to see Milan be a bit more aggressive, try and squeeze further up the pitch, try and catch Inter in possession. There'll be a lot of criticism, I think, back home if they aren't able to push on here and put this youthful Inter side to the sword.
Montolivo taking charge, occupying the role that Nigel de Jong had in the opening half. Montolivo again. He's only 10 appearances in Serie A last season. Antonelli. Two notable absentees for Milan today. Jeremy Menez, who's had surgery at the start of June, who managed a lot of goals for them in Serie A last season. The absentee is the right back, Abate, who has committed his future to Milan this week, or has suggested he'd be happy to see his career out in Milan. Nagatomo. Tied up. Nigerian international. Done by Delgado to Santon. Mexes. Zapata. Mexes. Antonelli back at Milan back in January, having returned from Genoa.
You can see here that Inter are very keen to play out from the back, play total football, so Milan really do have to press them a lot more in the Inter half. They can't allow them to play out as easily as they just did.
Delgado looking for longer. Recording. Delgado. Nagatomo. Certainly a test for Abbiati, goalkeeper who's only just come on at half-time. It's a shot on target from Inter.
Well, Nagatomo has this ability. He's got a strong right foot. He can step infield like this. It's never easy for goalkeepers, and the ball is zipping off the surface like that. A deflection on it as well. The pitch has been heavily watered at half-time, and Abbiati did well. Good concentration, good hands.
Very much first choice now for Milan. Goalkeeper who was signed from Real Madrid. Having taken over from Iker Casillas as Real's #1 in La Liga.
Exuberant, really, the centre forward there, but that's what they have to do. Don't allow Andrioli just to turn and play out with ease. You have to put him under some pressure, but you have to keep your hands off him. Don't give cheap fouls away like that. Just keep him under pressure.
Zapata. Several changes for Milan at half-time, but they've got the same front two out there. The front two who made a real mess of a great opportunity, or it should have been a good opportunity for Niang when Matri found himself in the clear. Antonelli mixes. Montolivo. Recording.
There's been some really sloppy passing from Milan, but I think that's down to the way that Inter have set themselves up. They're well organised. They're saying to Milan, you have to break us down, you have to be patient, your passing's going to have to be good. At times it's been really sloppy. They've given the ball away cheaply, and then Inter are enjoying good spells of possession, taking the sting out of the game.
The Inter supporters are making the most noise now. Santa. Tied up. Delgado. On the gun for a corner.
Well, we see that so often now with wide players. They're more than happy just to step inside and get shots away, and he was allowed to get a shot away there. You've got to close Delgado down quicker than that. Really, you've got a decent left foot. If he steps inside like that as a defender, you've got to get closer. Can't allow him to shoot cleanly. He could easily end up in the top corner if he gets it right.
In by Baldini. It was fell for Andrioli. Matri. It's worth emphasising that we do have to have a winner in all the International Champions Cup fixtures. If the scores are level after 90 minutes, we go straight to a penalty shootout. Vertomo. There's no doubt that DeMarco, the 17-year-old, looks far more comfortable for Inter on the left side of midfield rather than in the left-back berth, which he occupied in their friendly fixture against Bayern earlier in the week.
There's a cynical challenge from Mauri. Defender bursting forward there, looking to make things happen. Santon. Mauri's never going to win the ball, just clips the heels of the rampaging defender.
Delgado. Baldini. Ambitious.
There's actually a really clever run off the ball from David Santon, the right back, that just draws a couple of those Milan players away. You see fullbacks do that. It's really unselfish work. You make a run, you know you're probably not going to get the ball, but you just open up some space for the man in possession.
Tries to pick out Niang.
There's an example of what I was talking about. I think the organisation from Inter is good. They're asking questions of Milan in possession. They're having to force those forward balls rather than try and be patient and make 4 or 5 passes before they go forward. Mexis just decides to go long and they give possession away cheaply.
People argue the former coach was most complimentary of the contribution of Philippe Mexis, French international for Milan last season. Though he did have his disciplinary problems. He was banned on 3 separate occasions. It was a troubled season for Milan, and they had to dig deep at times to try and eventually finish the campaign in 10th place.
Showing his versatility tonight. Cosciello started off at left back, now going over to play right back. Loves to get forward whatever position he's playing.
Cosciello was included in Italy's squad for the World Cup finals in Brazil, despite missing a good chunk of the previous campaign with numerous injuries. Top by Zapata.
Well, probably should have done better. It's a wonderful ball from Niang. He's not trying to necessarily pick anybody out, but there's such a big amount of space. It's a high line that Inter keep here, so he just puts it into that space, and that encourages Zapata to come onto the ball. That's what attackers or attacking defenders want to do. They want to come onto the ball, attack it as Zapata did there. Really got over the top of that, kept it down. He probably scored.
So looking for a striker. It's top of their list of priorities when they return to Italy at the end of the week. There is a defender or two that Milan are looking for. They've been linked with Alessio Romagnoli of Roma and Ezequiel Gara, who's at Benfica. Maybe a holding midfielder, somebody like Axel Witsel, who's in Russia with Zenit, the Belgian. Now going to make their first alterations. Santon making way. Rossio on. And then is also coming on, replacing Delgado. also making way. Brozovic on with Kondogbia. You see Icardi as well. People figure in the Far East. Icardi was among the goals. Many goals for Inter last season, and so do in Europe did Luis Adriano and Bacca. With the big guns on now for Milan, the two big summer signings.
Yeah, I think we've had a bit of sparring from both teams. It looks like both managers here are going for the knockout punch, bringing on their big guns, looking to push on now in the last half an hour and win the game.
Luis Adriano, who in European terms was a bargain buy. 3-year deal that he signed, cost just €8 million from Shakhtar Donetsk. Brazilian international who scored 5 in the Champions League against Bate Borisov. And he got another 3 in the return fixture. Here's Bacca. Shot was deflected wide. And a swift counter-attack which nearly opened up Inter. It's always difficult, isn't it, when so many substitutions are made for people to get their bearings and to find the right position on the pitch.
Yeah, he can break up the rhythm, but Bacca did really well. He had a choice of maybe taking on, I think it's Popat who he's up against there, but besides, actually, it's the right choice just to pull that ball back to a teammate who's in a better position. It's all about decision-making at the top level, and Bacca did well.
Bonaventura with a corner kick. Met by Mexes. Oh, sensational. He does it time and time again. If you want the spectacular, look no further than Philippe Mexes. An astonishing goal. A wonderful volley. And Milan have the advantage. What a goal that was.
Well, this is quite incredible. I think if a centre-forward scores a goal like this, it's special. But for a centre-half to adjust his body and knock this back across goal like that, it's quite extraordinary. So it means to the Milan players and to Mihajlovic as well. Out of absolutely nothing, that is a stunning strike. As difficult a volley as you can probably ever get.
Philippe Mexes with a wonderful goal.
Oh, he has to get off the ground. The ball is coming across his body. He's outside the box as well, and well, the goalkeeper, he doesn't even move. It's that good a strike. Absolutely phenomenal technique.
Brilliant goal. Brilliant goal. Well, he's done it in the Champions League before. Spectacular overhead kick in a Champions League game once upon a time for Milan, and he enjoyed that. My, how he enjoyed that. Fantastic goal. Well, hoping to see a response from Inter. Or are Milan going to make them pay? Here's Bacca. Well, they bought goals buying Carlos Bacca from Sevilla. 28 he got last season. Got a couple in the UEFA Europa League final against Dnipro.
Well, I think Carrizo's just about kept Inter in this contest, because Bacca, on 2 occasions he's got the ball, he's just turned and ran at defenders and made things happen. Brilliant stop by the Inter keeper there.
Milan 1, Inter 0. Philippe Mexes with a goal, and what a goal it was. Bacca was away on Copa America duty with Colombia. He picked up a red card after Colombia had been beaten by Brazil. He had a bit of a spat involving Neymar, who'd already been sent off as well.
Sometimes you see with volleys like that, players going for pure power, but Mexes really was, it was hard enough just to make contact with the volley. I think when you just concentrate on making clean contact, you have a much cleaner strike. It was a brilliant goal.
Well done by the Brozovic. Kondogbia will be holding things together in the centre of midfield alongside Nkuri. Icardi. He got 27 goals last season, 22 in Serie A. He was the joint top scorer in the championship, along with Luca Toni, the 38-year-old now. Hernandez. Nagatomo.
Just get a sense with all the substitutions we've had, the pace of the game. Remember that Mex's goal as well, it's just increased in intensity. This is very, very serious stuff now for both teams.
Never want to lose a derby fixture, even if it is a pre-season game. Icardi suggesting that he didn't quite get hold of that. The ball was going across his body all the time.
He's one of those strikers, he will play up alongside Longo at times. Other times he'll drop in deep into the pocket of space, try and get the ball as he did there, turn and get his shots away.
The Argentine who has recently signed a new deal with Inter, deal which will keep him at the club until 2019. She's enjoying every moment of this. Showing Longo who spots. Madden. Antonelli looking for the return pass. Not much of a breather for Inter. They take on Real Madrid in 2 days' time. As Jose Mourinho delivered the title in the Champions League. Icardi is that muscle by Zapata.
There's a clever piece of movement initially from Icardi, but brilliant defending, great recovery, the pace of Zapata there. He didn't try and dive in, he stayed on his feet and just really out-muscled the striker.
Find it. The answer is no. Nagatomo. The way by the Chilia. They're expecting a lot from Kondogbia, who they've signed from Monaco for €30 million. Rangy figure in the centre of midfield. Nagatomo. Brozovic. Almost a chance. Kondogbia was waiting, ready to pull the trigger.
I think Kondogbia really should have made a move though, because Brozovic did brilliantly. I think Kondogbia didn't expect him to get to this ball and get to the byline. It's a really clever pullback as well, just dinks it into the box. Kondogbia's really got to get right at the back of Nocerino there and try and get a header in.
Hernandez with a corner kick. closer. Going to leave it penalised. Nagatomo. Icardi. Kondogbia. Done again by Icardi. Nagatomo with the cross, which is easily dealt with by Zapata.
Well, Zapata will be complaining there that he's been fouled, but he wasn't. That was an opportunity, a difficult one for Hernandez to keep down. The ball is coming straight at you, but good pressure on the centre half. Longo really has worked tirelessly. That ball cannons back to Hernandez, but you can clearly see technique all wrong. It's underneath the ball. It's a good response to the Mexis goal from Inter. They're dominating the ball now. They're forcing Milan back and starting to work some openings.
Lever complaining, but he's touched the ball with his hand.
He does a very similar job to Nigel de Jong. Montolivo in there, just looking to break things up. It's that holding midfielder just looking to break up the Inter rhythm.
Mixes to clear. There was some clearance.
With the way his look's in tonight, I'm surprised he's not shooting from there. That stunning volley. It does mean it's going to be the difference between the two sides. What a goal to win a Milan derby.
If it stays this way, both the fixtures in Serie A last season were draws, including the first goalless draw for more than a decade. Strong defending again by Andrioli. Andrea Ranocchia given an evening off so far. Ranocchia wore the captain's armband last season following the retirement of Javier Zanetti, who we saw at half-time. One of those who've joined the Inter delegation in China. Careless by Nakuri. De Chile. Here's Adriano. We've got a kick in the face then from Andrioli.
I think the centre-half is saying that actually when he went to ground that Adriano just put a hand in his face or maybe swung an elbow. The conversation is still going on. It's strong work from Adriano, getting his body in the way. Just as they go to ground. Just that right arm of Adriano. I don't think there's anything too sinister in it. It's a bad reaction though from Andrioli. You can't raise your foot like that.
Smart shot which was straight into the grateful arms of Carrizo. Is again taking charge. Silvino now number 2 to Roberto Mancini, taking 1 or 2 notes. Time for another water break.
The players could do with it. They put a lot of hard work in. It's been very energetic second half so far, and spiced up by that wonderful goal from Philip Mexis. A very interesting finish to the game as well. So I think players taking on some water here means that we are going to get a really exciting
15 minutes or so remaining. First opportunity for Milan's new head coach, Sinisa Mihailovic, to get a look at his team in the Far East. Lost at Lyon last weekend. They have had a couple of friendly fixtures coming out to the Far East. About the highlight of this game, the goal of Philip Mexis, a volley from the edge of the penalty area, and this is the reverse angle.
Well, if this is Ronaldo or Messi, we'd be saying this is just truly world class, out of this world. But this is a centre half smashing the ball back into that far corner. It's just the most amazing technique. I bet he says he does it every day in training, but this is a once in a lifetime. See what Mihailovic thinks of it as well. It's a stunning volley.
Of fluids being taken on board. Change of shirt for 1 or 2. Ranocchia ready to come on for Inter now. And a change up front with Palacio on. Higuain, who has had his injury concerns, has not featured so far. Didn't feature against Bayern earlier in the week. Kovacic, another Croat like his contemporary Brozovic, who's already on, and Ranocchia coming on at the back. Clearance by Abbiati. It was pounced upon by Icardi, who's reunited up front now with Palacio. Palacio featured for Argentina in the World Cup final against Germany. That was his last appearance for his country. Final in Rio last year. Struggled to get goals for Inter during the first half of last season, but things picked up for him after February. Luis Adriano unable to give Andriotti the slip.
It is a clear foul. I just think Andrioli now has gone into what looks like a back three for Inter, with Ranocchia coming on and Schwan as well. They look like they're going to play at a 3. Take a bit more of a risk, try and commit a few more bodies forward, because D'Ambrosio has had to go off. He only came on as a substitute. He's gone off. Looked like he'd probably picked up an injury. So Inter are going to throw everything at this.
Trip by Palacio. Jesus, who came on as a substitute in that opening game against Bayern. Maria, who has been brought in from Granada in Spain. The Colombian, who was the best young player of the tournament, played in Chile. He actually broke into his holiday to team up with Inter in China, but picked up a calf problem in the opening half as he stretched to clear from Philip Lahm, goal line clearance. Mix is making a late run forward. Mix is with the run to the near post.
Kondogbia did really well actually to get his head on this ball. He's a powerful midfielder, he's got some height as well, so in both penalty areas he's going to be very important to Inter. It's a wonderful ball in. The offside flag had already gone up, but Kondogbia didn't know that. He did really well just to flick this ball away.
Ranocchia started all but 6 of Inter's fixtures in Serie A last season. 59 points, finished in 8th place. And he once finished lower with fewer points since the 20-team Serie A was introduced more than a decade ago now. Milan, they were beaten in the quarterfinals of the Coppa Italia, but they did enjoy a degree of success in the Europa League when they reached the last 16. Both of their goals coming from Mauro Icardi, joint top scorer in Serie A with 22, just like Luca Toni. Hernandez. By Mauro. Bacca will give chase. Here's the marquee attacking signing for Milan, no doubt about that. 21 million euro he's cost Milan, who do have the financial clout now, which they haven't had in recent times. Similar story for Inter as well, with Massimo Moratti having sold his majority stake a couple of years back. Someone who was always faithful to Mancini in his time as coach, but now it's Indonesian backing, which at least gives Mancini a chance to spend a bit of money, although the owner was saying back in the new year that the jigsaw might have been falling into place, but there were too many pieces to the jigsaw, indicating perhaps that the spending couldn't go on indefinitely. And they have splashed the cash again in the summer. Kondogbia, one of those who's come in and who's been introduced as a second half substitute here. Turn of foot from Carlos Bacca again, and great defending by Ranocchia.
Well, he had to get this challenge right, but Bacca, his introduction as a substitute has given Milan a whole new dimension when he's in possession. His ability to burst forward, get past defenders, use his pace and his direct running. He did that there, but Ranocchia stuck to the task and he had to get that challenge right, mistimed that. He's giving a penalty away. It's a brilliant sliding challenge.
This almost got to it. Kondogbia it was who was able to check his run. There's been Floresta Paletta. Paletta's push, Montalivo's lunge.
Probably Montalivo was more to blame for that challenge.
So strong, isn't he? Luis Adriano backing into defenders all the time. He proved a real nuisance for Andreoli, who was certainly unhappy with the treatment he received.
Yeah, at this stage of the game, it's about game management for Milan. They're not necessarily looking for a second goal. They're trying to see their way through to the end of the game, and it's very important your strikers, Adriano and and Baco, when the ball is played up to them, they keep possession, they get fouled, they just allow the team to move up the pitch, break up the rhythm of Inter's game, and then you can see the job through to win the match.
Antonelli. Hernandez. Brozovic. It's come back to Brozovic. Montolivo made the block. Referee's let that go, much to Milan's dismay. Kondogbia. Palacio trying to catch out Abbiati. The experienced goalkeeper was having nothing to do with it.
I just think it was a very, very poor cross, a really promising position. Kondogbia breaking forward. Exactly the type of area they want Palacio in. Can he deliver a decent ball in? He's got teammates in the box. It's just a shocking cross.
Mexes. He's got the difference between the two Milan teams, and what a goal it was. Wonderful volley from a corner kick from the edge of the penalty area. Guarding offside.
It's a dangerous game that Milan are playing here. They're giving the ball away cheaply in their own half. But Guarin, he should look right along the line. We say it time and time again with players caught offside like that. A good 2 yards offside, and you can clearly see the ball's going to come his way. You can see where all the defenders are. He's got to step back to take possession.
He missed out on the Copa America in Chile with Colombia because of a hamstring injury, which kept him out of the back end of the last domestic season in Italy as well. Can Inter snatch an equalising goal? Milan just simply got too much strength. Double step by Roberto Mancini at the start of the game. Oh, there's trouble here. There's trouble here. The arguments are persisting. And what is the colour of the card going to be? It's going to be red. And Nocerino is off. Milan derby played in China, and Milan are going to finish with 10 on the pitch. Nocerino dismissed with less than 3 minutes to go.
We just talked about Milan showing common sense in game management, and what Nocerino is thinking of here with 3 minutes on the clock. It's just the most stupid challenge you can ever believe. You've just got to stay on his feet. Once you dive in, you run a major risk, and it's just a very silly challenge. He's not happy. He thinks he's been fouled initially, kicks out. Kondogbia. It's just a silly, silly thing to do. Of course, the referees in this type of competition don't want to send players off, but sometimes you have no choice.
Antonio Nocerino dismissed for Milan. Kondogbia. Andreoli. Mix is played into a corner by Palacio. Antonelli didn't do him too many favours then. Luis Adriana holding off Juan Jesus. Zapata. See the dismay on the bench. They know that it's going to be an uncomfortable last couple of minutes. Palacio getting away from Mauri. Eased away by Mexes. On by Hernandez. Another late challenge. One which I don't think the referee saw then.
Well, they've got the extra man into here. Surely they're going to flood the penalty area. And the ball went wide to Palacio there. I was amazed there's only 2 Inter players in the Milan penalty area. They've got to throw bodies forward now to try and rescue the game.
Backer has gone down.
And it seems like some of the Milan players are just saying to the referee, is that not worthy of a red card? But there's no real challenge. He actually pulls out of it as he goes in there, Brozovic. And at worst, it's probably going to be a yellow card. It's certainly not a red, but the Milan players just trying to influence the referee slightly.
So often the most troublesome injuries are in the most innocuous circumstances. Bakker missed a chunk of the World Cup with Colombia because he picked up an injury in training during shooting practice. 3 additional minutes we'd have at the end of the 90. Bakker on his way. Here's Adriano. Milan get the free kick. Guarin diving in.
The referee clearly not happy. I just wondered how malicious this was from Freddie Guarin. I think he does take a chunk of the ball, but it's the fact he comes in at the back of Adriano that makes the referee's mind up to book him.
Lever for time wasting. Kondogbia. Brozovic. Icardi. Palacio. Guarin. Almost squirmed out to Hernandez, but eventually Milan able to clear. And just clearing up that yellow card. It was for Peretta, not Montolivo. Brozovic. Now or never. Spectacular from Hernandez.
It's so difficult for the Brazilian to adjust his body and try and get this on target because Brozovic is whipping this away from goal. There's bags of pace on it as well. And Hernandez is actually ahead of the ball. Notoriously difficult to wrap your body around that and work Abbiati.
So the first Milan derby of the season is a successful one for AC Milan, and certainly Philip Mex's a wonderful goal to settle this fixture in the International Champions Cup. Fantastic volley from the edge of the penalty area. Milan finishing with just 10 on the pitch. Antonio Nocerino sent off for a spiteful challenge late on. Roberto Mancini and Inter will point to the fact that they gave off. It was a different story after the interval when they had plenty of strength out there, but it is Milan who emerge as the winners. Milan 1, Inter 0.